Hey guys, Phil Hornshaw here with gamefront.tk, and this is part 3 of the first 30 minutes of God of War Ascension. When last we left Kratos, he had fought off a boss, chasing down Furies. The Hecatoncheires, which is the big prison the Furies are keeping everyone in, is going weird and coming alive and trying to kill him. And here we see another example of level motion. Big part of God of War Ascension. You're going to see this a lot, and it's going to change the way you play as levels shift and turn. You're going to have to deal with different obstacles, that sort of thing. It's another close quarters fight with a lot of enemies and a lot of weapons. Gives Kratos the chance to weaponize his foes as he stuns them, use them against each other, and also to disarm guys and use their weapons against each other too. There we go, a little shift there. More examples of weaponization. When you guys play this, you're going to want to use those bugs like grenades because they're irritating to fight, but they're super useful against other people. Little throw there, another move you can do when you grab and stun enemies. Sort of what we saw in God of War 3, but more pronounced, more useful. Whoa, time to go. That's another R1 prompt. And a little puzzle action time. If you can call this a puzzle, which is kind of hard to do. There's not a lot of brain power used here. But it's early in the game. In fact, it's early in the game. That's a good point in terms of the way that Kratos handles and the way things have been changed. This is going to feel, especially in these early parts, this is going to feel a lot like old God of War. There are a lot of changes, but they're subtle. There are a few tweaks that we've been talking about to the way Kratos handles and the way he fights, but for the most part, this is pretty classic God of War, with only a few button tweaks, a few changes to the way things are going. Kratos does have different abilities this time out, and part of that is that it's significantly earlier in the timeline than God of War 1. This is like 10 years before the events of God of War 1. So the idea here is that Kratos is younger, he's capable of slightly different things, he might be less experienced, but, you know, maybe faster or something. So it'll be a lot like God of War, but that's the explanation that Sony Santa Monica is providing us for why he's a little different. But, you know, to explain away the fact that they wanted to make a game that you'll want to play and have different things available to you. Also, in terms of Kratos, Ascension is supposed to present him as a character who's a little less awful. Oh, just there you saw that whenever you pick up a world weapon, you're able to throw it, and that's actually a way you can utilize it pretty much right away, and that's an instant stun against pretty much any enemy, other than a boss anyway. But it's a lot of damage, a lot of weapons deal a lot of damage when you throw them, but it costs you the weapon, obviously, so you don't really get to use it long term, and you don't get to the benefits in the terms of a sword. That would be extra red orbs you can get out of fights. And now we've weaponized this Cyclops. Not a new thing for the series, but it is still something that comes up a lot as you play. Anyway, Kratos. We're going to see Kratos be something of a softer or like less awful character, apparently, in God of War Ascension. It's earlier in his life. He's angry, but less so, or perhaps differently angry. But Sony Santa Monica has talked about how you are probably going to find him more tragic and more relatable. I was not a fan of Kratos in God of War 3, as I've written. He's pretty much the most awful person I've ever had to play a game as. And I hated him, and I could have let him die at any point. That would have been fine with me. Supposedly, he's going to be much cooler in God of War Ascension, in as much as he'll be more of a hero. He's still going to have a lot to go through and a lot of people to fight off, but he's going to do a lot less wanton murder. So that's good. Unless you're into wanton murder. If that's the case, then you might want to pick up another game. Notice the casual call out to the multiplayer side of the game, as that's one of the warriors you can play as to fight for the gods. Oh jeez, zapped him right out of there. Thanks, Zeus. That was cool of you. More of these guys. You're gonna fight this guy several times. A slightly different form with the hand spreading, which is gross, by the way. I hate that. Little quick time event here. This is Kratos, you know, jamming on the circle button to push that thing away. Some more boss fight action. See how the Blades of Chaos are glowing really brightly? That's the rage meter hitting its peak. Provides you with some slightly better abilities and combos, that sort of thing. Also, if it seems like this isn't much of a demo in as much as difficulty, I had that same feeling when I was playing it as well at the preview event. I have a feeling, you know, as most demos and most press events, things are scaled way down to make it, you know, as easy as possible for the journalists who are terrible at games. So, if it looks a little easy, it is a little easy. I don't think that's necessarily reflective of what the game is going to be like. Handy use of bugs against bosses. Now, I've mentioned a little bit about what the Blades of Chaos are going to be like, the way you're going to be upgrading that weapon and adding different properties to it. I really don't have much in the way of details as far as that's concerned. We didn't get to see that during our preview, so I'm not really sure how that game system is actually going to handle. I only have it secondhand through interviews as to what that's going to be like. The Blades of Chaos are going to be a big part of your arsenal, and it's not super clear whether you're going to have the same number of different implements like you have in the other games. You know, this is a different part of the timeline. This is Kratos much earlier, so it's not like you're going to have like all the weapons of the gods that you've had, you know, in God of War 3, which is, I think, why the emphasis on the Blades of Chaos more heavily than we've seen in the past. However, I don't actually know, and they're a little bit vague about that. But I think the world weapon system is supposed to be replacing your ability to switch in a bunch of different weapons, pull swords, that sort of thing. Yeah, lengthy boss fight, blah blah blah. Okay, time for a quick time event. As we've been seeing a couple of these, when Kratos smashed him with the different parts of the building, that was all quick time. This is all quick time. It's the same as God of War 3. It's all stuff you're used to. Squash, and that's that. Hecatoncheires, whole first level of that game. So that is the demo for God of War Ascension's first 30 minutes. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Phil Hornshaw with gamefront.tk. Check out the rest of our videos at the gamefront.tk YouTube channel, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you're into this video so we can do more of them. Thanks very much.